One Aghari government, but two differing views. Now, the housing scheme, which allows MLAs to buy homes at a subsidized rate, has stirred a controversy. Now, days after the Aghari government announced 300 flats in Mumbai for MLAs from rural areas, NCP Chief Sharad Pawar has opposed the scheme. Now, Pawar is of the opinion that a quota can be introduced under the housing scheme instead of announcing a whole new scheme for the MLAs. Now, Pawar's views have been backed by the Congress.
मला सांगायला आनंद होतोय की जवळपास 300 आमदारांसाठी सुद्धा आपण घरं बांधणार आहोत, आमदारांना सुद्धा आपण घरं देणार आहोत. म्हणजे त्यांना सुद्धा एक राज्याचा विषय मांडल्यानंतर कुठेतरी एक चांगलं घर मिळावं आमदार असेपर्यंत. असेपर्यंत का नंतर पण म्हणून प्रतिक्रिया बघितली असेपर्यंत म्हटल्यानंतर काय होतंय तर आमदारांना सुद्धा कायमस्वरूपी घर आपण देत आहोत त्याबद्दल एक आनंद होतोय.
फुकट घरं देण्याची सवय महाराष्ट्र सरकारला कुठलाही सरकार असलं तरी फुकट घरं महाराष्ट्र सरकार देत नाही, ती विकतच देतं. आणि त्याच्यात आतापर्यंत 30 वर्षात अनेक पत्रकारांनी घरं घेतली आहेत आणि ती विकतच घेतली आहेत त्यांना जेव्हा प्लॉट देण्यात आले. आता जो प्लॉट जोगेश्वरीचा आहे त्याच्यात एक फ्लॅट कमीत कमी 1 कोटीचा असेल आणि तो आमदारांना भरावा लागेल.
Congress also shares the same view as Sharad Pawar has rightly said. Why should MLAs require a separate accommodation scheme built by MHADA in Mumbai? People also are against that there should not be a separate scheme for MLAs. When there are MLA houses like Manora and Akashvani, though Manora is under construction. So I think quota should be given to them in MHADA schemes or any other schemes instead of giving them a separate accommodation.
Now, this is, of course, a story that we're reporting from Maharashtra, where the government is one. However, there are different points of view within the same government. Now, this is with respect to the housing scheme that allows MLAs to buy homes at a subsidized rate. Now, this is the Aghari government's proposal. They had announced about 300 flats in Mumbai for MLAs from the rural areas. However, there's a point of conflict here with the NCP chief Sharad Pawar saying that he does not, he opposes the scheme. He says that the quota, instead of having an entirely new scheme for MLAs, what the government can do is introduce a quota to extend the same benefits. And Sharad Pawar's views have been backed by the Congress. Of course, now this is what we're getting. The issue here is the subsidized homes for Maharashtra MLAs, where on one hand, it's the Maharashtra government who introduced a scheme where they wanted to offer 300 flats for MLAs from rural areas. However, NCP Chief Sharad Pawar says he has opposed this scheme. Now, Ketan joins us live for more on this story. Ketan, it's one government, but two different views. Now, on one hand, while the government is saying that they want to offer flats to the MLAs exclusively, the NCP chief, who's also a part of his party is part of the government, says that, let's find another way to do this. Take us through this controversy and what are each party saying?
So basically, 2 to 3 days back, on the floor of the House, Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray said that this is a scheme intended at giving housing for the MLAs. And then later on, Housing Minister Jitendra Awad said that this is not a free houses scheme for the MLAs. For all the MLAs who are beyond Mumbai and MMR area, from the rural areas and from the rest of Maharashtra, can get a house under this scheme, and we have reserved 300 houses where the MLAs will get these houses at around a cost of 1 CR or something closer to that. Now, just to point to our viewers that any house in Mumbai costs way more than that. And any housing scheme of Maharashtra is always oversubscribed by multiple levels. There could be around 5 to 10 lakh people applying for, say, a few hundred houses. So there was a lot of critical feedback that the government received. And then today, in a gathering of the record, NCP Chief Sharad Pawar said that there could be a small quota. However, he is not in favor of giving 300 houses, even if the MLAs are buying it under a scheme to just the members of the Legislative Assembly. So this has kind of created a storm of sorts in Maharashtra politics, because it was a scheme that the MVA ministers announced, and now Sharad Pawar is weighing or putting his weight against this scheme and saying that the MLAs cannot just do this against public propriety.